What's going on, guys? My name's Clayton, also known as Commander, and welcome to this week's League Center for November 8th, 2017. We're not going to cover all the leagues this week. We're going to cover about a handful, and we have some really great replays, and we have an interview with Mirror and Angel, coaches of the Kentucky Tora Cats. We're going to start off with GSA Season 3, Week 10. The playoffs look a little bit different. Well, one side looks different, as Sylvia and KC, with the win against Blue for Week 11, because they're ahead, puts him right now in the playoffs just ahead of 27. But if 27 can pull up a win against Ben, coach of the Melbourne Magnetons, then he will have the spot for the time being. And then it'll be a matter of Week 12 shenanigans. Nothing else really is different. I think the playoffs are pretty much set unless Cal can pull something amazing and pass Money. And Frankie, coach of the Milwaukee Muse, might actually pull off getting the conference. In Lude, it looks the exact same with some more updates. Just to note, Kentucky did beat Miami in their match. Next one is SDLA Season 1. None of this is in order, and the playoffs won't be configured till about Week 3. But not a lot of interesting games in SDLA. There was one interesting game. We'll cover that in replays. UDL Season 4, Week 4. Matches weren't played at the time of me getting this on Monday. But some things to point out of matches that did play. Derp is 2-2. And KMJ is 2-2. But other than that, yeah. DL Season 4, Week 8. You can see the playoffs and all that shenanigan jazz stuff, sort of duber thingies. There's not a whole lot to say. And then the WCL post-draft, that's everyone's draft at the time of me making the video. You'll see some matches, hopefully next week, of WCL. And the DAL Season 1, Week 1, some of the results, also not in order, but some really close games in this one compared to SDLA. And the EBT draft tournament, so out of the 7 or 8 that we said we were going to talk about, 4 are moving on from pools. Twong moved on, It's Yeah moved on, Point Blank moved on, and Fancy 5 moved on. And then in the Nipple draft tournament, which was held last week, the results from that, Spanik and Newman will be moving on, Scrappy and AJ will be moving on. Get back here. Ben right now is guaranteed to move on. And then we don't know for the rest of the people. And as always, if you want a league covered, comment down below. Now we're going to move on to your replays for this week. Welcome to your replays for this week. We got 4 to show you this week. We're starting with Dream League. This is Bura versus Brain in a really close match this week. So let's get the show on the road. Surf critical hit. Pashuo Berry brings Hippowdon down to 2 to take out Manaphy. Yeah, with a crit. And then Ice Shard is going to take out Hippowdon. Going to move on to Scizor here, as a Bullet Punch is going to do quite a bit to Mamoswine. But a crit Earthquake is going to do just as much. Ice Shard is going to take out Scizor, and also take out Ivory for that matter. Going to move on to Tornadus versus Celebi. And Air Slash, yeah, that does a lot. And it doesn't get the flinch, as a Leech Seed is going to come up, which is going to really help here if this is a low roll, and it's not. But that's going to bring it into Scolipede. Scolipede, one of the most annoying mons in the game, as a Protect's going to go up, as you would expect, to get that speed boost, and also chip away at damage. And then a Mega Horn is going to do a little to Tornadus. Air Slash, Sash, down to a Sash. And that's all she wrote with the speed boost, as Scolipede's going to pick up the win, like it always seems to do. And Bura is going to pick up a 1-0 win against Brain. We're going to move on to Techno versus Scrappy in the Lude. In Lude Season 1. Another really close game. This Tri-Attack's going to do a lot to Jolteon. It's going to be a switch going into Umbreon to sack off Umbreon to take this Thunderbolt and bring some life damage down on Jolteon. Here comes a Typhlosion, which is Scarfed Eruption. That's pretty sweet, and it can do quite a bit. But here comes Orlando What will it do? It's going to drop out. It's going to go back into the Magna Zone with a crit U-turn coming in, jumping into the Star Raptor to click Boom Burst to take out the Magna Zone. Unexpected, as here comes in the Typhlosion, another Scarf, which is going to be faster than probably the Specs Boom Burst that was coming. Down to 1% on that Heat Wave. Boom Burst is going to do quite a bit of damage to Bubbles. Bubbles is going to take out that. And here comes in Josh Nichols. Bullet Punch is going to take that. So it's going to be Flygon versus Lando and Scizor. What can Tyler do? Well, Dragon Dance is an option, as a U-turn is going to come to try and pull off and intimidate with Lando. Natural Gift Ice with the crit. Yeah, those heat skills, or I should say cool skills, as Bullet Punch is going to come, and a Fire Punch as Flygon is going to pick up Techno the win against Scrappy. Going to move on to SDLA Season 4 Week 1, where we have Angel, coach of the Toronto Toracats, and one of the people we're interviewing against Siren. And this was a good game, with Mega Lopunny being the star. So, Rain Team versus non-Rain Team, as Mesprit is going to come in to do a U-turn on the Tangrowth. Jump into Zygarde here, as Giga Drain does a good amount of damage. It's going to be a switch going into Mesprit as Hidden Power Ice comes, knocking out Mesprit. Here comes in Mega Lopunny, as it's going to be a switch going into Pelipper to sack off Pelipper to Rocks, as a Fake Out was what's going to come. Here comes Toxapex. Thunder Punch is going to take out Toxapex. Here comes in Kingdra without the rain. Return is going to take out Kingdra. And here comes in Tangrowth. So it's going to take a couple returns here. It's going to be one as a Giga Drain is going to come, doing a good amount of damage. And here comes another return, doing just barely living. And here's not a roll needed. And Angel's going to pick up her first win of her career, a 3-0 win against Siren. And the last, we had to end with this one. It is the Brawl for All finale. It is It's Yeah versus the reigning champ Sablo and why Manaphy is so good. So Curselax is up with a Seismic Toss coming from a Registeel. With the Iapa Berry, Brick Break is going to do a lot to Registeel. And it's under Toxic. Seismic Toss again. Recycle, get that Iapa Berry back. Recycle Curselax. That's impressive on Sablo's end. Brick Break is going to take out Registeel. But he is low, and Manaphy is in. Tail Glow up on the Manaphy. As a return comes, doing a really good chunk of damage. Endure. Here we go, enduring the return, bringing it down to 1%, and the Salac Berry to speed things up as Snorlax goes down, and here comes the Gallade. No priority. Surf's going to come up, Surf's up, and Surf's up, and Manaphy is going to give It's Yeah the Brawl for All Championship. So that's all for your replays. It is now time to go into your coaches of the week.
Yeah. I think you might eat another zebra cake.
Oh shoot, I do have another zebra cake there. I'll eat that while you guys are talking. Okay. What's going on, guys, and welcome to the Coach of the Week for this week. League Center. We have not one coach this time, but for the first time ever, we have two coaches. They are Merkit and Angel, coaches of the Kentucky Toracats. Also, Mur is the coach of the Kentucky Mudsdales. So say hello, Mur and Angel.
Hey there.
And while you eat the zebra cake, we're going to go straight to their teams because Blue asked a lot of questions. So we want to get to that pretty quickly. First off, the teams. Mur is in Lude Season 1 as the Kentucky Mudsdales. He was also in the Nipple Tournament. And also, they're both in SDLA Season 4 as a team under the Kentucky Torcats. So we're going to start with Lude Season 1. Where Mur right now is the person keeping me from the playoffs. With a team of Kieran Black, Celesteela, Clefable, Rotomwash, Mega Gallade, Crobat, Superior, Delphox, Thundurus Incarnate, Swampert, Spiritomb, Blastoise, Typhlosion, and Noil. So, Mur, talk about your team for a little bit while I eat this zebra cake.
All right, so when drafting for it was the first super competitive draft league that I've been a part of, so I wanted to try and draft a rather competitive team. So I pretty much tried to get the best Dragon Fairy Steel Core that I could, even though I still can't get the hang of Celesteela. I've been riding on the back of Crobat and Gallade and Thunderous and Spiritomb for most of the season. But it's been fun. I've had some good key wins, some devastating losses, and I'm just enjoying myself at this point.
And he's sitting, I think they'll see it earlier in the video, but this is before I record this part. I think he's sitting like 4-5 or 4-6 and something. And right now, the last spot for the playoffs. So we're going to move on to the team that you both can talk about, which is the Kentucky Toracats, the SDLA Season 4 team, with starting with Mega Lopunny and having Zygarde 50%, Tapu Bulu, Empoleon, Amoonguss, Arcanine, Umbreon, Mesprit, Raichu, and Leaveney. So Mur can talk a little bit about how this is Angel's first league per se, and Angel can talk about what she likes about the team and stuff and things. And I don't have another zebra cake to eat now.
All right, so with this draft, like you said, this is Angel's very first draft. So I went into this draft with the game plan of trying to draft the most balanced draft that I could, that wouldn't be too difficult for Angel to be able to pick up and play, just because she's still really new to the competitive mon scene.
Literally, before this, I knew nothing about Pokemon besides Pikachu. Like, that's literally the only thing.
And yet she overcame all the odds and played her very first game and won 3-0.
And they will see that earlier in the video, just so that you guys know. And so on the team, Angel, what's some of the mons that you now understand to use a little bit more, or ones that you wish you knew a little bit more of?
I really like Empoleon,
It is quite a
but
bit.
I wish I could understand Tapu Bulu a little bit more. Still hit and miss with him and Zygarde 50%.
Well, hopefully it won't happen to you. I'm sure it'll happen to Mur, where Mega Lopunny will hit or miss with a certain move. 27 knows all about that move.
High jump cake for life.
Mm-hmm. Okay, now we're going to move on to the Nipple tournament, where Mur was in. And he drafted Mega Beedrill, Hydreigon, Alolan Ninetales, Volcanion, Celebi, Conkeldurr, Alolan Sandslash, and Stunfisk. Which, similar to last week's coach Matt, if you look at all three of the drafts, do you see a mon that is doubled in at least two of the drafts, if not all three? And that answer is no. So, 3 drafts, completely different Pokemon on every team.
I really, with the Nepal tournament, I wanted to draft 8 mons that I've never used before in any kind of in anything, just so I could try and get a better understanding. What I hope to be able to do is to be able to have a decent understanding and like some small level of comfortability of most of the mons. That way, if I go into a draft, I'm not going to be completely screwed over if the mons that I'm most comfortable with get taken.
I see. It's a good strategy to have. Probably why I don't do so well, because I have to have Sylveon. So we're going to move on to the boatload of questions they have for this week. We're going to start with 27's question, as he just asked it 12 hours ago since I made the graphics. And his questions, he has multiple questions, are: how long have you been playing competitive Mons? Also, how many leagues have you been in, / which one was your favorite?
Okay, so competitive mons. I would have to say I started to learn competitive mons back in October of last year. I started to learn through the person who taught me most of it was RC, and that was actually on a Pixelmon server. So that's Pokemon Mod on Minecraft. And so that's where I first started to learn competitive mod, was on a server like that. Then draft leagues I've been in. I've been in including Lude, SDLA, and Nepal. It's a total of 6. I'd been in 3 leagues before Lude, but they were all with friends of mine who were really, really really new. So it was really hard to really be able to gauge my skill at that point, if that makes any sense. And so RC got me into the Lude server, and here we are today.
I see. Okay. Moving on to, let's start with Blue's right column of questions. What are the best Pokemon, just in general, I guess?
That's hard. Like, I've been toying around with different playstyles. And it's just hard to say what the best Pokemon are. If I wanted to meme, I would say something like a fast electric type, but
They're
I
with the draft league format.
yes. I guess I will just go with my favorite type of Pokemon, that being poison types.
In general, I just really like bulky, like offensive, get your shit together ones.
Arcanine? That's the first one that comes to mind for me. Okay, next question from Blue is best food.
Mexican.
Seafood.
Next question from Blue, are you guys into little girls?
I am still a little girl.
No.
Next question from Blue is name, age, area, height, weight, hair color, social security number. You don't have to answer if need be.
Angel Mosley, 18, Kentucky area, about 5'5", 230, red hair, and 405-55-3744.
You can edit that social out.
Yeah.
No, that's fine. It's not my real one.
What is somebody's?
It's somebody.
It's somebody's. They'll have a fun time. Okay, the next question from Blue is Patrick Bay.
I think he's a Krusty Krab.
Now we're going to move on to the left-hand style of questions. We have a question from Angel. For Mur, will you come snuggle with me?
When and where?
It's for you two to decide. Also from Mur, from Angel, if you could have any superpower that did not involve mayonnaise, what would it be?
Very cliche, but I would like to be able to fly.
It's boring.
I mean, if I never had to pay for gas ever again, or pay car insurance or anything like that, I would be a happy guy.
We're going to move on to Blue's other set of questions. Question for Angel, how big it is? He's probably meaning how big is the mayonnaise jar that Mur has?
Good. 7 inches? 8? We'll go with that.
We're going to move on to Blue's next question, which is, what Pokemon do you guys want to build around in future draft leagues?
We were kind of discussing that earlier. Angel wanted to pick a mon that kind of has really annoyed her so far, and that's Mega Mawile.
That annoys many people. Unless you're Virgie, then that's about all you ever think about. Next question from Blue is, can I join your threesome? I don't understand why he says threesome, because there's only 2 of you. He hasn't included himself yet, so.
That's what I was confused about. But if we did, you could be the 4th. It's fine.
There you go, Blue. Someone at least likes you. The next question is, are you good Christian children?
No.
I'm not a Christian, no.
And the last question from Blue is, do you like mayonnaise?
No.
I do.
So that's all for the questions. No one else asked any questions. So thank you, Mur and Angel, for hopping on and joining us for this week.
Not a problem.
And for all y'all watching, remember to leave your questions down below, because we're interviewing the pecking order himself. We're interviewing AJ next week, coach of the Toronto Blue Flares. My name is Clayton, also known as Commander, and we will see you again next time.